All right, you guys, back with another live stream. Please share, subscribe, hit that like button for me, and let's get with another live. Now, we have Americans says that they can't afford holiday gifts under a billionaire, Donald Trump. As we see, high prices are forcing Americans to cut back on holidays presents this year, a new poll has found. Now, the main reasons why the government has reopened because they know we're going to go into these holidays. They couldn't shut down during Thanksgiving because they know everybody's going to, have to take the holidays serious, especially Thanksgiving. People got to go out and buy that expensive turkey, ham, just to, you know, make a nice Thanksgiving Day, holidays as we, call it. And a lot of us, follow these transition holidays. And I'm going to say this, not to shame some of you, but a lot of us do follow these holidays and we spending money reckless. Wonder why it's so hard to put food on the table when we taking these days and times, moments of our time to trying to please people, especially Christmas. Christmas is one of these holidays that you gotta, shop, you gotta spend money, where most of us don't even have money to spend. Now, according to this report, a total of 41% of Americans plans to spend less on presents this year. CBS reported that a 6-point jump compares to 2024 and the most significant increase since the 2022 inflation surge, according to new CBS All American Economic Surveys. Those who reported they will be spending less, 46%, says the reason was the high cost of goods, a 10% increase from last year's surveys. So you see, there has been a high percentage when it comes to high cost of goods, a 10% increase from last year's surveys. So it says the survey results come as almost half of Americans says the cost of living crisis is the worst they ever seen, with voter increasing blaming President Donald Trump policies. Now, definitely got to blame Donald Trump on these policies, these tariffs. We see tariffs going up. The cost of living is high. So how people can continue to go out and buy that turkey, that ham, especially Christmas being around the corner. People are going out shopping, buying a lot of presents for their children's, and a lot of people, even they parent not just for Christmas but for the New Year. People are buying bundle of alcohol to spend our money, where the government can likely be going to another, shutdown. So, saying all this to you guys, we got to understand that these great days are no longer great, because these are not just great days we see. These are terrible days, and we must not forget how we are warned by prophecy. For 100 years and for 1,000 years, that end must come to this world. Now, I say this. The rulers of this world we see, they have to be removed, and a crown must be taken off and placed upon another head. And they will rule in justice and righteousness. See, the people of this world have now become so wicked and so fearful of the consequences of their own rule, until the almost thoughtless vision is gone and the fearfulness has taken hold of the people. We see their heads is going to and fro to the nation of the earth to find a way of peace between the heads of the nations. We see a great time, a terrible sometime, a terrible time. The hearts of the people are all beginning to weaken, to fail, because of what is going on or what they see is coming. We see America and her people have lived so rich and so joyfully, and wickedness we see, murder, robbery, hatred of one another, until it had hardened their hearts so much that they make to think that they can make friends and live on with those upon whom they had no mercy. Now they crushed all the weak nations of this earth with their powers and brought them to the clutches of slavery. They forced other nations to bow. They pushed their borders around the earth as the kings did in their day and time. But in those days, the kings boast. Now think over it. England made that same boast. England used to boast that the sun did not set on an empire. Now take a look at England today. There is no British empire for the sun and moon to set on. This morning, May 30, 1972, the radio news announcer says that they found mines in the Chicago River. This makes it altogether more frightening. For if a mine should blow a ship up in the city limit, it will be destroyed to the life of the people. Now, I want y'all to just think this over. The Chicago River runs through the downtown section of Chicago, Illinois. No one wants to frighten people more, but the frightening of the people sometimes does good. The great days we see these terrible days. People are just being shot down on the streets, right in their homes, or are walking the streets. They are blown down as though their life are nothing. The great days we see. The terrible days. American people have been here, according to history, since a few years after Columbus, the explorers. He conquered the Red Indians, the original owners of the land, who she found here and took it for a home for herself and kind. She have continued conquering until her conquering powers that go on around the earth, affecting every civilized nation submission to her will. She was successful in forcing other people to bow to her will, whether they like it or not. Now it is the hands of God, which is after America, to force her to submission, a hand from which we have no defense, as it is written and prophesied in the Bible under the name of Babylon. In Jeremiah 51:25, behold, I'm against you, O destroying mountain, said the Lord, which destroyed all the earth. I will stretch out my hands upon you and roll you down from the rock. I will make you a burnt mountain. Jeremiah 51:53 says, though Babylon shall mount up to heaven, though she shall fortify the heights of her strength, yet from me shall spoils come into her, said the Lord. See, America is under a destruction similar to that of ancient Babylon. In the Bible, Jeremiah, Isaiah, and Revelation, John prophesies concerning her. Babylon, they mention, is a future Babylon, and that Babylon of the past. America has enslaved all the so-called Negro, and her evil mistreatment of them is similar to ancient Babylon enslavement and mistreatment of the Jews according to the scriptures. It took the hands of God to bring the kings of Babylon and his people into submission to the power of God. He brought the surrounding kings and their power against ancient Babylon and the prime, the heights of her glory, the handwritings on the walls, the casting down and his followers into the furnace, making drunk the people of God with a strong wine and then mocking them. So has America done with the so-called Negro. See, America makes him drunk with wine, whiskey, and beer, and then laugh at him. You see how they do this? You try to catch up with these holiday seasons. A lot of people will see alcohol going on sale. They run in these grocery stores. First thing they see, well, alcohol is on sale. I can use my card, my Albertson card, or my Standard Brothers card. A lot of people that works at Standard Brothers, they get discounts, a lot of discounts, especially on alcohol. So when it comes to these holiday seasons, people will buy alcohol by the bundle. They go to Costco's, they go to Standard Brothers Food for Less. And you wondering why America makes him drink and drunk with wine and whiskey and beer and then laugh at him. You see, she will put him to the first furnace and burn him at the stake while sitting around with her family drinking this intoxicant drink and laughing at the burning flesh of God's people. See, when we see there is no justice whatsoever, as the Revelation gives it, she makes all the world drink of the wine of her fornication, but the end is coming to such evil doing. See, America have lived in peace so far as forging war is concerned. She had destroyed other people in their towns and cities. She had leveled them to the ground. She still prepared to do the same with her great stockpiles. She says she has enough bombs and destructive weapons to destroy all human beings on the face of the earth 3 times and still have some left over. Of this she boasts, but Allah God has said to me that he would destroy America, will bring her to her knees in humiliation. The destruction sent to ancient Babylon, recorded in the Bible, is the answer to most of what he has said to me will come upon the now rich America. Rain, hail, snow, earthquakes. These weapons all belong to God. America, how do you fight an army like this? Now, before mentioned weapons of Allah, God cannot be ignored. The whole year we see have been a year that far of Allah, God plaguing America, day and night, with storms we see, rain, flood, killing, and destroying properties. Now, the coming winter, hell have been falling in some places we see, the size of golf balls, baseballs, and footballs. The rain continued to fall in places, and a dreadful snow blizzard is now in the working. A cold wind is blowing in the north, come against America, as it is written we see, and prophesied in Job 38:22 and 23. Have you entered into the treasures of the snows? Or have you seen the treasures of hell, which I have reserved against this time of trouble, against this day of battle and war? You see, earthquakes are now destroying America and are now recognized to be noticed, touching America lightly, but nevertheless, they are here. With all of her wealth of preaching of Christianity, she had not been a good Christian herself. As Jeremiah said, rise, get you up into the wealthy nations, that draw up without care, said the Lord, which have neither gates nor bars, withdraw alone. Now, with America being the last richest remaining people, she have enough food of earth. Why are we so busy in these holidays? Now, I want y'all to think. The government was just reopened. They had this reopen around Thanksgiving. A lot of people was rushing and getting a turkey and getting this ham. Why y'all not thinking, using your head to use a little bit of this, supplements that they will give you for just a little bit? You have to make sure you have to feed your families, fill your pantries, not going buying no expensive turkey and ham and all this stuff. People going out buying a whole bunch of presents. Christmas is getting too expensive, and a lot of us can't afford it. So I was looking this on the other day, the news. If I was looking on the survey, 10%. There's a lot of people now, they're not concerned of trying to buy Christmas presents because they know just the cost, of these holidays going up. The cost of living by itself. When you see American people will say paycheck to paycheck, most people will work 2 or 3 jobs. 60%, of Americans will have to pay that high, rent, which they can't afford to catch up, because some people will continue to go into these holidays, seasons. And when you can't afford, presents, don't worry about it. Don't worry about a Christmas tree that you may not can buy or afford. So I say this to you guys. America, she has so much food to offer you, but she refused to give you any assistance. So This core responds to America because she lived situated between the two greatest bodies of the water of this earth, the Atlantic and the Pacific. And we see she's very careless. She rejoices over evil and filth as though she is self-protected from the divine hands of God. Jeremiah 50:31 prophesied, behold, I'm against you, most proud, said the Lord God of hosts. Your days have come, the time that I'll visit you. Allah God is visiting America with great destruction. We are witnessing, which he has to pour upon the wicked America after their mistreatment of the so-called nickel for 400 years. She desires now to deceive them and to cause them to suffer with her, to share her doom. Now, Jeremiah, verse 56, my people have been lost sheep. The shepherd hath caused them to go astray. The white and black preachers of Christianity had turned away on the mountain. They had gone from mountains to hills. They have forgotten their resting place, their native people and countries. Now, Jeremiah 50, verse 7 says, all that found them had devoured them, and their adversary says, they offend not, because they have sinned against the Lord, their habitation and justice, even the Lord, the hope of their fathers. Since the white man had made the so-called Negro as wicked as the person as himself, now these are the words that he speaks. They are just as evil as we. So therefore, Allah guides against them too. To the so-called Negro repeat the same and says, the white man is no worse than the so-called Negro. So the white man had opened all of his doors of avenue of temptation to lure the Negro in for total destruction. Again, we have a warning to lead a people with whom God is angry, as the people of ancient Babylon was warned to do. Jeremiah 50:45. My people go out of the midst of her and deliver every man his soul from the furious anger of the Lord's. All of the pledge, destruction, and judgment which Allah God used to destroy the wicked and disobedient from the time of Adam until this day will be brought upon America. Then she will be burned with fire. This is the time of trouble that shall bring America into insanity. America, especially North America, had entered her time that was predicted by Moses and the prophet between him and Jesus. In the 24th chapter of Matthew, there's a prophecy made by Jesus of the present time of America without mentioning her name. He refers to the country as a world, because this part of the earth is referred to in many places by the prophet and by Jesus himself as a wilderness. The name America is not yet 500 years old, so the prophet refers to it as a wilderness and a prophecy. It's terrific. I use the word terrific because I use the word terrible, because it's not a thing that can be described as something mild, but something that is moving slowly, nor something that can be recognized so easily by the common people. It's clear to all who can see that America had reached a stage about which she had always been warned. She always had wanted to keep it a secret because of her so-called Negro slaves. She never desired for the slave to know too much what was in store for her because of enslaving, mistreating her slave. She had wear them for the past 400 years. And she knows them, and she knows how they think and how they react to her teachings. And she knows to fear her. And she knows the slave, but the slave do not know America, the slave masters. The great, dreadful, and awful day's doom is now in the doors and windows of America and of the church, the religion of America. As long as Christianity works, America thought she was safe because we see it is one of the most deceiving and upright, misleading religions of the world. Allah God taught me, you have carefully examined everything in the religion of Christianity, designed to make slaves out of black people. Now, if Christianity was the red rag and wrung out every drop of right slavery for the black man, the world knows this now. But the spiritually blind, deaf, dumb American so-called nigger, whom I'm calling, appealing to reason, I'm calling to reason with me on the truth and their own starvation that is now true of self and kind, but the enemy of self. There will not be an end to the carcasses between black and white in America and throughout the world until wrong, evil, murder, deceiving, robbing the poor black men of the earth is destroyed, and righteousness and justice are practiced. This is the day of God Almighty to set up justice and equality throughout the earth. He is to free the black man, the American so-called man, from his deceitful, evil, and murderous enemies. America wished to oppose Allah God in His work and to bring injustice and freedom to our one slaves. But this is just what Allah God wants. He Allah wants America to attack Him to get this fight started, to bring His judgment against her with the fullness of His strength and powers. America is bringing about the political gloom. Here we see the politicians are unable to carve out a future for America. See, the plan of deceiving the so-called Negro politicians to work against their own freedom, justice, and equality, starvation that Allah God has brought to them, is making the so-called Negro in high office become an enemy of his own people, freedom, justice, and equality. And see, it's all going to come back on them. It's all going to come, because what America is doing to the American people, America is starting us with unemployment. See, you cannot, once you understand, you cannot buy the food that you used to buy if you don't have the money. See, many people, if you have money, you can buy good food. But most of this food that we see are chemical use. And see, it's so important, y'all, that we continue to use the little bit of resource we have, because look, what they trying to do is to force another government shutdown. And we can't be into these holidays if we can't afford holidays. If we can't afford food to put on our tables, we gotta use our money wise. Little things we gotta put in our pantries. Quit trying to follow the holidays when we can't afford holidays. I was just looking at, CNN, and I believe I was watching CNN and NBC. One of those stations was showing that it was 10% on the survey that a lot of American people won't go out to buy presents. So a lot of us, came for these holidays. It says 10% on the survey that it was a ride. 40% shows that American people was not gonna buy Christmas presents on these holidays. And the survey results come as almost half of Americans says that the cost of the living crisis has skyrocketed and the worst they ever seen, with voters increasingly blaming Donald Trump for policies. Now, I want to say the 10% increase from last year's survey, I was looking on CNBC. It says a total of 41% of Americans plan to spend less on presidents this year. Now, that a 6-point jump compared to 2024, and the most significant increase since the 2022 inflation surge across to the new CNBC All-American Economic Surveys. Now, keep that in mind, y'all. That a lot of people, they can't afford these holidays, man. A lot of us are really saving paycheck to paycheck just to meet ends. Just let ends meet when it comes to have to pay rent. You know how much things is costing nowadays? You know how much eggs is costing in the store? You know how much a pack of ground beef is costing you? Imagine you had to buy a turkey, a whole turkey to feed 8, 9 people in the home. Yes, it's getting ridiculous. So now let's get on. America is bringing about this political doom. Here we see the politicians are unable to carve out a future for Americans. See, the plan of deceiving the American people. The politicians to work against their own freedom, justice, and equality. See, the God of justice we serve have brought to them a judgment. And see, God has brought to them a judgment, making people see so that the people won't be blind to what they see and what's happening today. So now, when we look at these people in high office, we got to think, are they really for the people? Because we see such office are held out as a bribe to get these black politicians to work against the spreading of the truth. See, they are happy. And they both know that they are happy to have a place near him in such office, just for the purpose of trying to oppose God and his message of freeing this poor black man who is in the mud. This is causing the political confusion and complete destruction of a house divided against itself. We really got to do for ourselves, because we can't rely on the governments. Governments is not going to do for us. Government's not giving out no more handouts. We got to learn, as American people, got to learn how to do for self, man. Because for some reason, y'all, if the government goes on another shutdown, how are you going to apply and get ready to, be ready if it goes on that shutdown? This with little public assistance they have, and it's going to run out eventually. The deadline on it is January 30th. So you want to fill your pantry. You want to make sure you get everything you need, because when they go on another break, when they go on this another recess and they talk it over, and the government happen to be shut down again, what are you going to do? That's the question. You know, the sad thing is the people here been blind because y'all don't see these people for who they are. Because I'm here to tell you, when they can't carve you out a future, hell, we want a home on this earth. We can't call home. See, I do not want to be slave anymore to white people. We don't want to be free Uncle Toms for white people. We want to do something for self and go for self. However, America, for a blind, deaf, dumb politician class of the so-called maybe will bring a swift destruction upon their heads along with their doom. That is inevitable against the enemy. See, I say this to you. Let it not be 20 years in this future, nor 15 years. Let no one deceive you. It is here at our doors now. The dreadful pledge and confusion of America we see are beginning to boil. And a few making it boil when that creed until it boils down to the last of the dread. Now, this present promise of a better future that America is making to the so-called Negro will prove to be false. And all of her false promise to the American so-called Negro will be short lives by both, because the time we see of her doom has approached. Now we know America will have to do a marvelous thing of justice, a square deal to turn it back, a fast and sure tempering the Negro to filth and evil will not work. It takes justice to work, to postpone the dreadful days of America. America lost a war. Friendship is speeding her doom.